Hello and welcome into Ansible Deep Dive and Multi-Vendor Networking. This video course is provided to you by orhanergen.net. In this video, we're gonna start with the firewall objects, then move forward to the firewall policies. So in this video, we're gonna deal with objects and policies. So the first playbook that we have in this video is A255A get objects. So before we dive into this playbook, let's go and open the web GUI that we have. I think I have put it in the favorite, yes. So in the objects, I have multiple objects. One of the most famous objects, which is the addresses. So in this video, we're gonna play with addresses. There are multiple addresses here, as you can see. The default one and the configured one. So the default one, maybe you have, Gmail, the FAQDN, Gmail, Microsoft, Google, whatever you have. Maybe you have address groups. So those are the predefined one. And of course, I already configured one, which is 888. I just put it inside port 1 because 888 will go from port 1 because it's an internet, and port 1 will be the NAT interface. So in this video, we're going to learn how to create an address object within the firewall with multiple types and approaches. So the first thing that we're going to use is just to get an object. So we're going to have all the objects gathered. So we're going to use the FortiOS configuration facts. The selector will be firewall address. And that's it. We're going to have all the built-in and configured firewall addresses as an object. So Ansible A255A get objects, maximize the screen. You're gonna have a lot of output because you have multiple predefined objects, and eventually those objects may be editable and maybe not. So this is the first playbook. The second playbook is get IP parse, and this time I want to go into advanced parsing. So let's see what can we do with this parsing. I'm using the JSON query and using a variable of Q1, Q2. So in this time, I have put the query string within a variable. Someone will say, why you put it like this? You could just put it inside the JSON query. The issue with Ansible is there are, these codes. As you can see, whenever you have multiple codes, it will be ignored and you will have an issues. So the best way that I saw is you put them inside a variable, you open and close the code, then you put it inside the JSON query. You will not face and have any issues. So let's see what is the queries that we have. We have 1 and 2. So what is the first query that we have? The first query, we will go into meta and results. So this is the normal one, meta and result. Previously, if you recall, the result were a nested list. So we put a star and that's it. In this case, we are not using that. I'm gonna have a condition. The condition will be, I want the type of the address to be IP mask because the type could be multiple things. So Control F, type, the type is FAQDN, or maybe a normal or maybe a normal IP mask, or even a subnet, etc., etc. So I don't want the FAQDN, I just want the IP mask to be printed. So how to do so is using the predefined condition with JSON query. So we are not using when in Ansible because by default JSON query has its own syntax using like the condition. So it will be like a question mark equal a value. So this is how you do a condition with JSON. So when type equals IP mask, then do the printing. So Ansible playbook A255B get IP parse. In this case, I will have only the IP masks. So just, yes, I have the value of IP mask only, IP mask, IP mask, IP mask, and that's it. The 888 that I've created as an IP mask is a subnet. Now, What if I want to print only the name and the IP of the, of the value, or even the subnet, not only the IP? I will have the Q2, so the Q2 will be more advanced parsing. I want to do the condition, then print only those two values, the name and the IP, or even the subnet. So I will rerun the code. It is printed the name, the IP. There is no IP configured, only a subnet. So you could just type here, I think, subnet. Rerun the code. Yes, it is configured. Here's the subnet, and the name. As you can see, firewall device, firewall auth portal address, all and none. So this is how you do advanced parsing regarding the firewall address object. Let's move forward on to the next playbook, is how to create an IP address. So this is a very simple approach. I'm going to use the configuration module, FortiOS firewall address. The VDOM is root, state present, firewall address. The name will be like this. So IP or an ergon underscore the IP, the prefix. This is the name. The type is IP mask. The subnet is a single IP prefix 32. And the description, the command will be created by Ansible. So that's all. Just run the code. A255C. It will create an IP address. Verify, just go back to the firewall, do a refresh. You're gonna see this entry. This one, created. It is not associated with any interface. And if you want to verify using the get IP parse A255B, you could do it. Maximize the panel. And here it is created. Now, one another approach that I like to do, and most of you maybe will be familiar with, is an A255D range. So what is the meaning of range? How can I do the range of this one? So maybe one time you're gonna have to create maybe 10, maybe 100 objects that is sequential. Maybe you are aiming for your client addresses. Maybe you want to create maybe multiple client IP addresses, static IP address, maybe starting from 1, 2, 3, 4 until 100, or even from 150 to 200, etc., etc. So you'll go to the trouble of each time create, copy paste, IP mask. It will take time. But what if you want to create it at once? So I will do it within a script, and that will save you a lot of efforts. So let's see what we have. So we are using the same one, the name, the IP, but look what I'm using. I'm using a with. Yes, we are now back to the second module, which is, the Ansible, the Ansible playbook. We have, the loops, if you recall, the with item, the with list, the with, the with loop. We have the normal loop and the with star. Now I have something named with sequence. The with sequence is a very simple and straightforward. So you are doing a sequence. In Python, it is range. I think they have it here and as within the loop. So loop parentheses range, but I like the with sequence. So the sequence will start from 1 and end with 4. So the default item variable will be looped 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. You could just do whatever values that you have. So let's see what I have in the configuration. So the item, the default item variable will be looped from 1 to 4. So let's see what I have. So the object name will be different. So IP or an ergon, then it will be a name. So 1, 2, 3. Then the IP address will be different. 172.16.24.7. 172, 71, 72, 73, 74, and the subnet will be also like this. So 172.16.24, the IP of 71, 2, 3, etc., etc. So it will be sequentially added So let me run the playbook and see what we have. So A255 D range IP address 1, 2, 3, 4. This is sequential. Head back, refresh, and that's what I mean. Or an Ergon 1, 172, 16, 24, 71, 72, 73, 74. Imagine if you could do this like with 100 IP or more. This will save you a lot of time. You could do it using this one, and this will always work with sequential or even range. You could use the range. Maybe you don't want 1 by 1, maybe 2 by 2. So 1, 3, 5, 7, like this. You could modify the increment. Let's go into A255 get IP filter. One thing that I had in some big large environment is I went and I saw that there is maybe a prefix of 24. Let's imagine that this is the prefix 172.16.24.7, and it have maybe 200 IP addresses. Imagine how you can have those addresses and save them into maybe an Excel file, .csv file. So this is how we can do it with this playbook. Let's see how it is. So I'm using the default, so I'm using the Q2 that we already used. I went there and had gathered the firewall addresses using the configuration facts, but look, I'm using now the filters. The filters is one parameters that is supported within the configuration. If you recall, one time we used the params. There is filters, sorters, formatters, etc., etc. So the filters will help you a lot in how you may gather the information. The first filter that we're going to use is to have a specific information. So the specific information that we want, I want to have only one object that is named 888. So this is one approach in how you can have only one address object, and that's it, is to use the name equal and the value of the name. So Ansible playbook A255E. As you can see, I had only the 888 with its subnet. So the name is 888 and the subnet is 888 prefix 32. So this is how we can get only one object using filters. And of course I'm filtering it using this query to I don't have a lot of output. So the second thing that I want to do, what if I want to have all the names that consist of 172.16.24.7, and I don't care what is beyond 7. Maybe it is 2, 3, 7, whatever the name will be. So I just want to parse 172.16.24.7 or just 172.16.24. Like this. So you have multiple parsing. I want to do this one maybe. So I'm using name equal at. So equal at means this is a partial equal. So it whatever value that partially have this string will be matched, but equal it is a fully matched string. If there is maybe one character different, it will not be happening. But partially equals at, no, it will look only for this partially string within the name value. So let me rerun the code, and that's it. I have only the 172.16.24.71. This is a very good filter that you could do and have within Ansible. So let's move forward into A256A get policies. So eventually I don't think I have any policies except for the implicit deny one. So I don't think it will be printed. So the first thing with policy is getting the policy using the configuration facts. Selector will be firewall underscore policy. printing the result, and that's it. So A256A get policy. So I don't think I have any policies because I don't have anyone. So the message will be empty. So let's create a policy with A256B, create policy. The policy will be like straightforward. So whenever you create policy, you must define multiple things. So let's see what we are defining. I'm using a configuration module, vdom, root, state, present, firewall policy, and those are the configuration that must be invoked. So the name of the policy is policy created by Ansible. You know, this is a named policy. The policy ID, I just give it 123. So give any policy ID that you wish that is not used. Be careful. The action will be accept because, you know, policy is either accept, deny, or whatever. The source interface will be A2. The source address will be all. I don't have any source address associated with port 2. Destination interface will be port 4. It's just like a dummy policy. Destination address will also be 4, just for the sake of testing. The service will be also all, but take care, the service will be all uppercase because the default value, it is written like this. The schedule will be always, the log traffic will be all, and the status will be disabled. I don't want this policy to be enabled. Maybe you are doing this in a real environment and this will cause you an issue, so I will disable this policy. So let me run the playbook. A256B, create policy. Maximize the screen. Good, the policy is created. Let me verify it by invoking the first one, A256A, get policy. I have all this information about the policy, the interface, the IP, you know, the services, etc., etc. All of those are the default key and value. If you want to verify, just head back to the, you know, policy. Do a refresh, you're gonna see it. Here it is, policy created by Ansible, disabled, source all, destination all, service all, the action is accept, and all of the rest is, you know, the default one. As you can see, those all are the configuration that we did. So that's all for this video. See you in the next one.